Amanda Nunes is one of the most dominant and accomplished fighters in UFC history.
Here is Amanda, the Lioness of the Ring, Nunes.
With 2 championship belts to her name and a long list of impressive victories, Nunes has established herself as a force to be reckoned with in the Octagon. But what sets Nunes apart from other fighters, and where does she rank among the all-time greats in the sport? In this video, we'll take a closer look at Nunes' career and accomplishments, from her early fights in Brazil to her historic victories in the UFC. We'll analyze Nunes' fighting style and explore what sets her apart from others. Finally, we'll discuss Nunes' legacy in the sport and her impact on the UFC and beyond. So let's dive in and explore Amanda Nunes' place in UFC history. Amanda Nunes was born May 30th, 1988 in Salvador, Brazil. She began training in martial arts at a young age, starting with karate and later moving on to boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Nunes made her professional MMA debut in 2008, fighting in a small promotion in Brazil before eventually making her way to the United States. Nunes signed with the UFC in 2013, and she quickly made a name for herself in the bantamweight division. In her UFC debut, she defeated Sheila Gaff by TKO in the first round. Nunes then went on to win her next 2 fights, including a submission victory over Germaine de Randamie. Despite her early success, Nunes struggled with consistency in her early UFC career, alternating wins and losses over her first 6 fights in the promotion. However, her impressive performances and potential as a fighter were evident, and she continued to train and improve her skills. Nunes' breakthrough came in 2016 when she faced off against Miesha Tate for the Bantamweight Championship at UFC 200. In July 2016, Amanda Nunes faced off against Miesha Tate for the Bantamweight Championship at UFC 200. Tate was a seasoned veteran of the sport with wins over some of the top female fighters in the UFC. Despite being the underdog going into the fight, Nunes was confident in her abilities and had a clear game plan. From the opening bell, she came out aggressive, landing a hard right hand that sent Tate stumbling backwards. Nunes continued to pressure Tate, landing more strikes and taking her down to the ground. On the ground, Nunes showed off her grappling skills, taking Tate's back and sinking in the rear naked choke. Tate fought hard to escape, but Nunes had the submission locked in tight. Tate eventually went unconscious and the referee stopped the fight, giving Nunes the victory by submission in the first round. Nunes' victory over Tate was a shock to many fans and analysts, but it established her as a dominant force in the bantamweight division. Her technical skills, power, and confidence were on full display in the fight, and she proved that she was a legitimate championship contender. Nunes' victory over Tate marked a turning point in her career. Nunes became the first Brazilian woman to hold a UFC championship belt. Amanda Nunes' victory over Ronda Rousey at UFC 207 in December 2016 was one of the most stunning upsets in UFC history. Rousey, who had been the face of women's MMA for years, was making her long-awaited comeback after a year-long layoff. Nunes, who was the current bantamweight champion, was seen as a formidable opponent, but few expected her to defeat Rousey in such a dominant fashion. From the start of the fight, Nunes was aggressive and calculated in her approach. She landed a series of hard strikes that rocked Rousey and sent her reeling backwards. Nunes continued to pressure Rousey, landing a fury of punches that forced the referee to step in and stop the fight after just 48 seconds. Nunes' win over Rousey was a statement victory that solidified her place as one of the top fighters in the UFC. It also marked the end of Rousey's MMA career, as she would go on to retire from the sport after the fight. Many attributed Nunes' victory to her superior striking and power, which were on full display in the fight. Nunes' precision and aggression caught Rousey off guard, and she was unable to mount any offense in the brief time the fight lasted. Nunes' win over Rousey was a defining moment in her career, and it established her as a true legend of the sport. It also cemented her place as the top bantamweight fighter in the world. Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko have one of the most storied rivalries in women's MMA history. The two fighters faced off in March 2016, with Nunes winning a close and controversial decision. They would meet again in September 2017, with Nunes once again emerging victorious, this time by split decision. Both fights were incredibly competitive, with each fighter showcasing their unique skills and abilities. In their first fight, Nunes came out strong, landing several hard strikes and taking Shevchenko down to the ground. Shevchenko, however, showed her resilience and managed to weather the storm, coming back in the later rounds. While Nunes ultimately won the decision, many felt Shevchenko had done enough to win the fight. Their second fight was even closer, with both fighters trading blows and grappling exchanges throughout the 5-round bout. Nunes once again came out strong, but Shevchenko was able to adjust and neutralize many of her attacks. The fight was ultimately decided by the judges, with 2 of the 3 scoring the fight in Nunes' favor. The Nunes-Shevchenko rivalry has been a highlight of women's MMA, with both fighters pushing each other to new heights. Their second fight in particular showcased the incredible skills and toughness of both fighters. Despite the 2 victories over Shevchenko, Nunes has spoken highly of her rival, acknowledging the skills and tenacity she brings to the Octagon. Their fights have been some of the most exciting in recent memory, and they have established themselves as 2 of the greatest females in MMA history. Amanda Nunes became the first female champ at UFC 232 in December 2018 when she defeated Cris Cyborg to become the women's featherweight champion. The fight was highly anticipated, with Nunes and Cyborg considered by many to be the 2 greatest females in MMA history. Despite being the underdog, Nunes came out strong, landing a series of hard strikes that staggered Cyborg early in the first round. She continued to press the action, ultimately landing a devastating overhand right that knocked Cyborg out cold just 51 seconds into the fight. Nunes' victory over Cyborg was one of the most stunning upsets in MMA history. Cyborg had not lost a fight in over a decade and was considered by many to be unbeatable. Nunes' striking and power were on full display, as she showed no fear in standing and striking with one of the most feared strikers in the sport. The win not only established Nunes as a dominant force in the featherweight division, but also cemented her status as one of the greatest fighters of all time. She became the first woman in UFC history to hold 2 titles in 2 weight classes simultaneously, and her victory over Cyborg was seen as a major milestone in women's MMA. Nunes' second championship victory was a career-defining moment and showcased her incredible skills and ability as a fighter. Her striking and power were simply too much for Cyborg to handle. Amanda Nunes has had an undeniable impact on the sport of MMA, both in terms of her accomplishments in the Octagon and her influence outside of it. With 2 UFC championships to her name and a long list of victories over some of the best fighters in the world, Nunes has cemented her place among the all-time greats of MMA. Her striking and power have made her a force to be reckoned with in the bantamweight and featherweight division. But Nunes' impact goes beyond her impressive list of accomplishments. As an openly gay athlete and one of the most prominent LGBT+ figures in the sport, she has become an inspiration to countless people around the world. She's used her platform to advocate for equality and acceptance and has become a role model for many in the LGBT+ community. In addition to her influence on social issues, Nunes has been seen as a trailblazer for women's MMA. Her victories over Ronda Rousey, Cris Cyborg, and other top fighters have helped to legitimize women's fighting and prove that female fighters can be as skilled and exciting to watch as their male counterparts. Nunes' legacy in the sport of MMA is already secure, but she shows no sign of slowing down anytime soon. With each new victory, she cements her place as one of the greatest fighters of all time and continues to inspire fans around the world with her skills, courage, and determination. Amanda Nunes is one of the greatest female fighters in the history of MMA. The first female double champ and the first to defend both belts. Not to mention, she's fought all the other female greats and beat them. Considering women have only been competing in the UFC for 10 out of their 30-year history, Amanda has been a champ for 7 of those years. Amanda Nunes is a true legend of the sport, and her impact on MMA and beyond will be felt for years to come.